Hey guys, it's Ro. Welcome to another Nerdy Nummies. Today we're going to be making a Moana cake in celebration of the new Moana movie that just came out. And not just any cake. We're going to be making a jelly cake for the very first time. I've never done this on the channel before, so I cannot wait. And the cake recipe that we're going to be making, because it's tropical, is going to be a pina colada flavored cake. And if you guys like Nerdy Nummies, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. All right, without further ado, let's get started. First step to making this delicious cake is whisking together our dry ingredients. So over here in a medium bowl, we've got some flour, and then we're gonna add a little bit of baking powder and a little bit of salt. Salty. Whisk together till well combined and then set off to the side. Next, in a large mixing bowl, we're gonna cream together our butter and sugar until it's nice and light and fluffy. So we've got a stick of butter, room temperature. You don't want it melted and you don't want it cold from the fridge. You want it to be a nice soft room temperature. We pour in our sugar, and then, oh, this is gonna be so fun. It's a little bit of coconut extract and rum extract. So it's really gonna get that pina colada flavor going on. Yeah. Then using electric hand mixer, mix together until it's light and fluffy. This usually takes a couple of minutes. I can smell the pina colada. It's just hitting the nose. This is looking so good. It's light, it's fluffy, and it smells like a pina colada. Now we're just gonna add 2 whole eggs and mix it up one more time. Our butter mixture is all ready, and we're gonna alternate adding our dry ingredients that we mixed up before and full fat coconut milk. Yum, 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 yum. Starting and ending with dry. So we're gonna add a little dry, mix it up, add half the coconut milk, mix it up, a little bit more dry, mix it up, little coconut milk, mix it up, little dry, mix it up. You guys get it. And there you have it. Batter is ready. Now we're gonna eyeball it and divide it in between these 2 round pans. These are 6-inch. They're greased and lined with a little bit of parchment paper so that the cake won't stick. I just put a circle at the bottom and a strip all the way around the sides. This is a nice thick batter. This is gonna be heavy. This is why we weight lift. This is it. I just started weightlifting again and doing push-ups every day. And you can see it, my abs are coming in. That's right, we wanna be strong bakers. Beautiful. And you can scrape off the excess. Ugh, just love an offset spatula. Once you got the batter in the pan, these are ready to bake. So you're gonna heat your oven to 325, and we're gonna bake these for about 30 minutes or until a toothpick comes out clean. While the cakes are baking in the oven, we are gonna make a yummy pineapple filling. All you're gonna need is a can of pineapple chunks and the juice. You just dump the whole thing into a blender. That's what I've done over here. And you're gonna blend it together until it's almost like super liquidy, but leave a little bit of texture, a little bit of chunkiness. Then we've got some sugar and cornstarch. I'm gonna put it in this little pot over here, a little medium-sized pot. Boop, 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 boop. Mix these together first, and then we're gonna pour in all of our pineapple. Then you're gonna take this over to the stove, and over medium heat, you're gonna let it cook and stir constantly to allow it to thicken up. Once it's nice and thick, it's gonna kind of look like this. It's like pineapple pudding. Okay, now that this is done, I'm gonna set this off to the side, and while the cakes are still baking, we're gonna make some ganache. Time to make ganache. We're gonna be making a white chocolate ganache and then a regular chocolate ganache, but I'm just gonna show you the white ganache because the only difference is we're gonna add a little bit of rum extract. You're gonna pour heavy cream into a large saucepan at medium heat, bring it to a scald. Scalding is when the bubbles will form all the way around the sides of the pan. Once it's done that, you're gonna remove it from the heat and pour it over all of these white chocolate chips, whisk it together, then you're gonna add your rum extract, mix a little bit more, and then just let it sit until it's room temperature. And then it's gonna look like, boom, this. We're gonna do the same thing to make a milk chocolate ganache, but no rum extract in this one. Once the cakes have baked and they come out of the oven, give them plenty of time to cool, and then we are going to assemble an island, a tropical island, maybe one where Moana lives or wants to visit. So here's the cakes. What I did is I cut off the tops, and you wanna save those, save all the scraps. Then I cut each of the cakes in half. Now this part's totally up to you. It's how you you want your island to be shaped. I'm gonna make them not perfectly round because most islands aren't perfectly shaped. I'm using a lot of inspiration from Hawaii. I love Hawaii. I really wanted to make these islands look similar. So I'm just carving off some little pieces to give it a more natural shape. And then again, remember, save your scraps. I'm gonna put these in a bowl. This one will be like the next layer. So I'm gonna kind of trace it and then go in a bit more. That's how mine looks. Kind of looks like a weird little Pac-Man. So just keep carving and then I'll show you what I've kind of come up with. Here's the basic shape of my island. I just stacked them up. So these are just some little pieces. And then here's the main like island, you know, like that. So this is gonna be really neat. With the extra scraps from the cake and the cake tops, which are my favorite, like muffin tops, we're gonna make a little cake pop dough. So this is really fun. So whenever you're baking and you have scraps, you can just shred them up with your hands or a big spoon, and you can add a little frosting, or I prefer ganache now. If you're ever making cake pops, use ganache. That is my biggest pro tip. I'm just gonna get in there, all right? And this is to make pieces. We're gonna make like the peaks of the mountain and the island, just to give it a little bit more personality. You don't have to do this, but I really want to do this. So you just keep mixing it together until it basically becomes like a clay, like a Play-Doh, and you can just shape it into anything you want. After working it together, that's what the cake pop dough looks like. I had a bunch left over, so I'll be making some cake pops, and I've been shaping little peaks like this for the top of the mountain, and you can just place them wherever. I'm gonna kind of move these around to see where exactly I want to put them. I was kind of eyeballing it, but yeah, that looks pretty good. And then over here, I want to have kind of a rounded top, but that's the basic design of my island, the little small island and the bigger island. And we do it with such high layers because with a jelly cake, you're not gonna see just what's on top, but you're gonna see under the sea. You're gonna see under the sea. We've got all of our cake pieces cut out. Now it's time to assemble them. And this is also the time where you need to pick whatever you're gonna serve the cake on. You gotta pick it now, whether it's a cake plate, a regular plate, a cake stand, whatever it is, because after this, you can't move it. In front of me, as you'll see, I put down a little bit of white ganache and I spread it all over and stuck the first layer of cake to it. Now, this helps with assembly, but it's also gonna help when we build the jelly cake around it, so it kind of like protects it. And that's what we wanna do so the cake doesn't get too soggy. And this is the size of the jelly cake, you guys. This is like the biggest cookie cutter you've ever seen. I can make a cookie on my face with this, okay? And I think it's just called a cake ring. It's made out of metal. And wherever you place it, just keep in mind that's where your cake's gonna be, and the jelly will go around it. So you wanna make sure that you do an outline, whatever your next piece is. Say like, I'm gonna put the piece here, boop, like that. I'll leave that little opening so you can see. So you wanna make sure that you do the outline with your ganache. So you're gonna pipe the outline, like this. Da, 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 da. And we're using ganache because buttercream is not gonna hold up in the jelly as well. And this is where, oh, look at that delicious pineapple filling. And we're just gonna scoop as much in there as I can get. The only thing with this is you just don't want it to be taller than the ganache. So just the same height as the ganache. Oh, my mouth is drooling. I wanna eat this right now. Oh, that looks amazing. Look at that. Okay, now we're gonna put this next layer on, like so. Press down ever so gently. Then we're just gonna keep building our cake. This next piece I'm gonna put over here, get our ganache again. And you're just gonna keep doing this, building the cake together and putting those delicious pineapple layers in between each slice of cake. Even this little island, pineapple. Pineapple for everyone. Oh yeah, lock it in. Last step to assembling these, we're just gonna use ganache to attach the little cake pop peaks that we made. So I'm just gonna put some ganache down like so, and stick it on. Just do it for all your little toppers. Everything's attached, and now we're gonna crumb coat with the ganache. This part gets a little messy, and the easiest part to do is the back, because that's the most flat. It's a little trickier in here with all the grooves, so just take your time. And if you wanna get into cake carving, using ganache is the #1 pro tip thing to do. It will just hold your design together. Even if you have to travel with your cake, the best thing you can do is put a ganache layer over it. Whenever you're working with your cake, if it gets too soft or squishy, starts moving around, you can just pop it in the refrigerator for a few minutes to chill, then bring it right back out again and start working on it. Whew, there you go. We crumb coated it and got in all these little nooks and crannies. We really don't want the jelly cake to get in anywhere on our regular cake, so we have really coated this thing. Now I'm gonna pop this in the refrigerator to chill for 1 hour. And while it's chilling, we're gonna make our little decorations. So I'm gonna go pop it in there right now. We're gonna make our decorations, starting with our ganache. I wanted to make a few extra colors and just show you guys. So we had our white ganache and our milk chocolate ganache, and then I mixed a little bit of the white with the milk chocolate to make this lighter color. This is gonna be like for underneath the island in the sea, kind of a sandy color, the sand that you'd see at the bottom of the ocean. And then this will be when we're moving into the land. This is a little lighter brown and the darker brown. To make all the decorations for the jelly cake, we are not going to be using fondant. Do not use fondant because fondant in jelly cake dissolves. So you've got to use melting chocolates. And what's great about melting chocolates is at the store, they already come pre-colored. And then you just heat them up in the microwave and you can put them into molds. I got seahorses, seashells, starfish, and coral, and look at all these little fish. They're so cute. Here I have some white seashells. Here they're kind of marbled. I'll show you how to do that. Same as I made these rocks over here. I'm gonna show you how I made the rocks because I made these from hand. And then we've got some fish, and these I also hand piped. I just melted the chocolate, put in a little piping bag, and just pipe so they look like seaweed. And you can make them different little shapes and layer them however you'd like. So over here, I'm gonna show you how to make some cool rocks. The reason I didn't make the rocks in a mold, they do have molds for that, but I really wanted this kind of like swirl, like marbled look. So in this little bowl, I have some white melted chocolate and then some oil-based food coloring, and I have it in the color black. You have to use oil-based food coloring when you're working with chocolate. You can't use the gels. It messes it up, trust me. All right, so I put a little dollop over here on the side of the bowl of the oil-based food coloring, and I have this little spatula, and I'm just gonna dip into it a little bit and mix it around so we get a cool, oh, look at that, yeah, oh, yeah. So we get this kind of like marbled color. And now on this baking sheet lined with a little parchment paper, I'm just gonna make little glops, little plops, little gloppity ploppities. Those are the rocks. And you can do them all different sizes. You can do small rocks, big rocks. These little rocks are more smooth. I just plopped these, and then these ones, as you can see, they're a little bit more rough. These are the ones I rolled in my hands over here. All right, I'm gonna let these sit. I'm gonna move this off to the side. Just took the cake out of the fridge. We have all of our decorations made. Now, before we add the jelly for our jelly cake, we're gonna add a little bit of ganache coloring, like I showed you before. So we have the lighter, like sand-colored ganache, and then the brown ganache in these two piping bags. I'm gonna start with the lighter sand color. All right, here we go. I'm gonna start right here and just go all the way around. So I'm just gonna pipe some on and then using an offset spatula, flatten it out. It took a little while, but look at that. Boom! Totally covered in ganache. And now we're gonna cover the top part, the land, in the darker ganache. So I'm gonna do the same thing where I'm just gonna, put this all the way around. And what I really love is you want to protect the cake from the jelly. And this is giving it a few layers of protection so that our cake doesn't get soggy. This is such a cool cake. I can't believe we have never made this before on my channel. All right, we'll do some little zigzags, get it going, and then smooth it out with our spatula. Boom, there you have it. First step of decoration is complete. Everything's covered in ganache, and now we're gonna add all these cute little chocolates to create an under the sea wonderland. I'm just gonna keep working around the entire cake, adding different colors and corals and seaweeds and rocks. until I get this just right. I've got all of the decorations placed on the cake. Now the next step is kind of unique. You've got to go to the store and get some acetate, or you can order this online. This is a very particular type of plastic. This piece of acetate is placed on the inside of the cake ring, and I've also greased it so it won't stick to the jelly. All right, so as you can see, I'm gonna carefully pick it up. And like acetate was made for this. This is the perfect time to use it. Then you're just gonna place this sucker down before we fill this with jelly. Here's what we're gonna do. Pipe a little bit of ganache all the way around so that it really seals in the jelly. We don't want that coming out. Okay, here we go. I'm also gonna use my finger. I'm gonna apply some gentle pressure just to make sure there's no gaps. I'm gonna take my time because this is important. Now we're gonna pop this back in the fridge to chill for 1 hour because we really don't want the jelly to melt the ganache. Okay, so I'm gonna pop this cake one more time in the refrigerator to chill for an hour, and then we'll pour in the jelly. While the cake is chilling in the fridge, we're gonna make some more decorations. We are making the original Moana boat. Now, this boat does make an appearance in the new movie. It isn't the new boat, but I think that the original boat is a classic. So to make this boat, I am making it out of fondant, but we're gonna coat the bottom with a little bit of chocolate so that when it touches the jelly, our little boat doesn't sink to the bottom of the ocean. So to make this boat, I used 2 different color fondants. I used a chocolate brown color and a light tan color. And here is the boat all done. Look how cute. Are you kidding me? This is adorable. And then in front of me, I've laid out the pieces to show you how I went about making this. I didn't do it live right here because it took like forever. Here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna take your fondant, you're gonna get a little piece like this, roll a log, and then cut off the ends, and you'll get a little piece like this. Then you're gonna taper the ends by pinching it, pinch, 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 and then you're gonna kind of make it look like a pea pod by then pinching all the way across the top. Boop, 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 like that. And then you're going to flatten. Take your finger and flatten that pea pod. Boop, 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 boop. Then you're gonna flip it upside down when you're done, and ever so gently, just with your fingers, just curve up all the way around, like the lining, just so it has a little bit of curve at the top of the boat. And don't forget, the bottom of the boat, we're gonna cover it in chocolate. Just give it a layer. Now, to make the sturdy pieces, these little pieces over here, and again, look at this, look how small they are. We're gonna roll a small little log and flatten, pinch the ends, just like so. For these sides, you're gonna cut a small little rectangle slice. It's so small and little. And then cut the ends, and then with your fingers, just slightly round them. So we're gonna be using these 2, the slightly rounded ones. For the top of the boat, this is the wood deck. And then we assembled it just like so. With these 2 little attached, these 2 little attached. Just like that. And you can attach everything with royal icing of the same color. Now for the sail. I made the sail using floral wire. So you just cut it and wrap it to make the shape that you want. That's the structure. Rolled out some tan fondant and cut a little sail. Place this on top. Used a little icing on top to connect it like so. Look at that. Boop, just like that. And then covered it with a little bit of brown, so it really looks like Moana's boat. Last but not least, in the smallest piping bag you've ever seen. It doesn't even have a #1 tip. You guys, this is probably smaller than a #1. We have some red royal icing in here, and I just piped basically the swirly symbol that is on her boat. And then over here, we've got the little boats. They're basically just little canoes. They're not like this big boat ready to travel. Oh my gosh, I just almost dropped that. I'm gonna put that down. Okay, so to make the little canoes, same idea as this one. Roll out the fondant and cut a much smaller log, pinch the ends, and then pinch all on the top to make it more pea-shaped, flatten, flip it over, bloop, and make a little edge all the way around. And remember, so these are the bottoms of the boat. Remember, on the bottom, right here, I've painted on chocolate. All right, so that's how to make our little decorations. My last piece of advice is just let them sit out, harden and dry before you assemble them so that nothing kind of shifts and moves and sinks. Next thing that we're gonna make for decorations is basically a microwave sponge cake. I'm making this for some beautiful green texture on top of the islands in a heat-safe glass bowl. You're gonna add 1 egg to the bowl and whip it together with an electric hand mixer with a whisk attachment for just 1 minute. Then you're gonna slowly add in your sugar and whip together for probably another minute. Then you're gonna add your honey and a few drops of food coloring and then mix together once again. And then lastly, you're gonna sift your flour and baking powder and mix together till well combined. Once combined, you're gonna cover the top of the bowl with some food-safe plastic wrap, poke a hole in it, and pop it into the microwave to cook. This is so cool. You're gonna cook the cake in the bowl for about 1 minute and 40 seconds, and when it comes out, you guys, look at that. It's green, it's spongy, and you can pull it and break it apart, and it's just gonna have the coolest texture for the top of the mountains and the island, and it tastes like a honey cake. So the complementary flavor, the honey with the pina colada is really good. Time to make the jelly for the jelly cake. I'm gonna add the water and coconut extract to the sugar. So just pour it all in there. Then using a spatula, I'm just gonna mix these together. And for your water, you want it to be either cold or room temperature. You don't wanna use warm water. And then once you've mixed it, now you're gonna add your gelatin. All right, so I'm gonna use all this gelatin right here. It's a very specific kind. And then you're gonna give it a light mix to make sure all the gelatin is coated in water, and then we're gonna let this sit for 10 minutes. The gelatin that I'm using is this brand. It's not a powdered gelatin, and the reason that I'm using this is it's a little higher quality. It's a clear gelatin, so it's less cloudy, it's not yellow, so we can really see through the cake and see all those decorations in there, and we're flavoring it to be coconut. Our gelatin has soaked, and now we are going to melt it over a double broiler. So over here in this large sauce pot, I've got some water, it's simmering, so watch out, it is hot, and I'm just gonna place this bowl right on top. This is a glass bowl, but it's also a heat-safe bowl. We're just gonna keep mixing it over the heat until it all melts. You can still see these kind of like gelatin sheets, and so we're just gonna keep mixing. Usually takes like 5 minutes. And then once it's done, we're gonna head back over to my little baking station and pour it into some water. All right, we're all done, and look, it just hit 150 perfectly. So I'm gonna turn off the heat, and then you wanna use your mitts because it's hot. So you're gonna pick up your bowl, and then we're gonna walk it over here, and we're gonna pour it all into this water right here. Just pour it all in. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Just be careful because it's hot. In this little bowl, I have a few drops of blue food coloring and 1 of green. And this is just gel coloring. I'm gonna pour just a little bit in here. I'm acclimating them. And we're just gonna add color as we go because a little bit goes a long way. I'm just gonna add a little at a time. Oh my gosh, that looks amazing. I mean, is that the color already? Once you've got the color that you want, this is what I want. We're gonna wait for this mixture to become 90 degrees. So let me just put this in there. And once it becomes 90 degrees, then we're gonna pop our cake into the freezer. So it's going from the refrigerator to the freezer, and we're gonna let it sit there for 10 minutes. And then we're gonna take it out and pour the jelly in. All right, right now we're at 101, so we've got to let it chill like 10 degrees. My cake's been in the freezer for about 10 minutes. This has cooled to below 90 degrees, so now we are going to strain it. I've got this big strainer, and we're just gonna pour it all through there to get all that little junk up. You can see all the white junk. We don't want that. And if there's any left over, we have a little spoon. We can scoop them out. But look at all that. Ew, gross. There's a few little pieces, but it's not that much. You add the jelly to your jelly cake in 2 steps. You start with just a small amount, and you cover the bottom of the cake. So I'm working with just a small amount, and you just pour enough in to cover all of the bottom, and then you pop it in the fridge for 3 minutes to chill, and then you can pour in the rest. This is just gonna set it up really nice. Gives it some extra structural support. That's looking good. Now I'm gonna carefully put this in the fridge. There we go. Then we'll pour in the rest. There we go. Oh, that looks so cool. look at that. Now we're gonna pop this cake in the refrigerator and we're gonna let it sit overnight so that it's very sturdy. The only difficult part, just be careful when you're transporting it because this is a lot of liquid. It will slosh around, so just take your time. Ooh, here we go. This is the scary part. We're gonna gently remove the acetate. Okay, here we go. Gentle, gentle. This looks so good. Look at that. You can look in the ocean and see all the decorations. This is amazing. Wow, that turned out. If my mom ever made me a cake like this for my birthday, I would lose it. Now we're gonna take our little microwave cake and I'm just splitting it down the middle. And it's just super spongy. It has great texture, and I'm just going to attach that to the top. All right, let's just Frankenstein it, everybody. Here we go. You know what? I'm just gonna put a little bit here, a little ganache, and I'm just gonna stick that right. Look at that. Yeah. All right, we're just gonna cover this whole thing. Let's get wild. I might add some more greenery, but I'm just gonna show you how to decorate some waves and add a little sandy beach. So you're gonna take a little baking brush. This is a really small one. I'm just putting it in a little bit of water and then a little bit, this is like white food coloring and it's like the solid white. And we're just gonna gently paint edge lines of water. So we're just gonna paint them all the way around just to give it a little wave look. I feel like Bob Ross. This is just like paint till it makes you happy. When you're done with the waves, we're gonna put on the sand, which is just crushed up graham cracker. At this part, you have to be a little careful, so I like to go slow. And then, final step, put our little boat on the top and we're ready to go. So for the sand, I'm just gonna take a little bit and I'm just gonna really gently tap, tap, tap and put it right at the base because I don't want it to touch the jelly cake because it will get stuck there. It doesn't like to come off. So this is the only part I'd be a little delicate because everything else you can kind of brush off. And then you just keep doing that. And ta-da! Here is the Moana jelly cake that we made today. And this is the first time we have ever made a jelly cake on Nerdy Nummies. And I am so excited that we got to do this. So now you guys know how they're made, and if you want to make them at home, you can. And you don't have to make a Moana cake. You can literally make anything. All right, I'm gonna cut a little bite for me. We're gonna take a little taste. Oh, that is so cool. Look at that. Look at those pretty layers. This little jelly. Sometimes it stays stuck on there and sometimes it just flops right off. And now we're gonna taste the cake. Oh my gosh, it's so good. That's a pina colada cake. Pineapple, the coconut, the rum, I love it all. This is amazing. Bon appetit. While the kids are watching Moana, I'll be having a slice of this. I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Also, if you like baking videos, don't forget to subscribe. And if you'd like to watch any other videos, you can click up here or here. And let me know in the comments down below, what other Nerdy Nummies should I make? You're welcome.